Hello and welcome. I am Jenny Hall. Thanks for joining me today. If you're in the United States, then happy Independence Day or happy 4th of July, whichever you call it. I'm so happy to be able to be with you today and do a by request live video demonstration. And this is Technique Week over at my blog and my YouTube channel. So be sure to check out all of the techniques that I have featured this week, and it's continuing all the way up until Saturday. Really exciting. So I want to share a few things with you before I get started while I gather my things together. There is a buy 3 get 1 free designer series paper sale that's going on right now during the month of July. So if you would like to purchase 3 of the list here of designer series papers, then you can choose one for free. Now, this is a really great time to stock up on Christmas paper for designer series paper, because there is Under the Mistletoe is one of the designer series papers, and it's really a nice one. So that's something to think about. And if you are going to shop, then I'm sharing my host code for July, and I'll show that in a minute again. But the DSP sale is going on right now, and there's a list of items to purchase from. Another promotion that's going on right now is you can choose a free color family, a free ink pad assortment if you become a demonstrator during the month of July. And if you don't already have a demonstrator that you want to sign up under, I would love to have you on my team. My team is called We Create, and that's basically, it's about we, and it's a wonderful group of people. I adore every single one of the individuals that are on my team, and I would love to add you on there as well. So you get a free color family, and you can pick from any of the 4 color families that are in the Stampin Up catalog, plus you can choose to get the 2 in color assortments as one family, and that makes 5. So that's a pretty great deal, and it's for $99. Hi Donna, how are you? Are you celebrating today? My family is not going to make any plans to go outside today because it's really hot. We're having a heat wave in New Jersey, and one of my oldest son is not able to be in the heat. He gets a heat stroke very easy because he has some neurological disabilities. So we stay in, and I'm able to get a little bit of work done. Hi Sharon, I'm happy to see you today. Good evening. I also want to mention that if you are a demonstrator, or if you sign up to be a demonstrator during the month of July, then you are eligible to order this new bundle coming out. I can't show you what the products look like, but I can show you a graphic like this, and I'll bring it a little closer for you to see. But it's called Color Your Season, and it's a absolutely stunning bundle, and there is all sorts of different themed cards. There will be fall and summer. If you're in another part of the world and you are looking at starting to make your holiday cards, then you can work with any different season that you like. If it's holiday cards or not holiday cards, anything that works for you. Your body hates the heat, Donna. I don't like the heat, and I just, it gets me. It gets me. So I'm with you on that one. This is called Color Your Season, and it will have a very nice stamp set, a wonderful, fantastic set of dies, and some brand new watercolor pencils that you can order with it. The bundle includes the stamps and the dies, and then there is a brand new watercolor pencil assortment. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. Yes, Donna, I know the products are all over Facebook. There's only certain things we're supposed to show, and I try to follow the rules as much as I can. Once I have them in my hands, then I'll be able to show them, and I've ordered them, but shipping from Utah to New Jersey takes almost 2 weeks. What I will be doing is customers can purchase this bundle in my store starting the month of August, and I will have an exclusive tutorial set that is just for this bundle. And it's going to be fantastic. These dies are amazing too, I have to tell you. So here's my host code once again. And if you're shopping in my online store, be sure that you use the host code if your order is less than $150. So if it's $149 and below, then you use this host code, and it will allow me to send some more free gifts to you guys. And if it's over $150, then don't use the host code because you get Stampin' rewards directly from Stampin' Up. So I'll bring this out again later to share with you. And I'll have a really quick look, excuse me, in the catalog to show you where those color families are. Well, the Designer Series paper is here on page 188. So you can get a really good look. And here's that Under the Mistletoe paper. And then it goes on for another set of pages. So there's a very nice assortment of Designer Series papers to choose from. And if you want to look at the color families, start at page 183, and you'll be able to see the color families. And it continues for a few pages there too. Hi, Kathy. Good morning. So let's, one more item and then we'll get started. I wanted to make sure that I share something new that I'm doing for my customers. I've always had a reward system, but I'm changing the way it operates in the way that whenever you place an order with me, I will be putting one or more of these cards, depending on how much your order is, in your thank you card and with your free gift too. That way it's easier for you as a consumer to keep track of how many reward points you have earned before you get to have your $40 shopping spree. So that's what I do as a reward for my customers is whenever they collect 10 points, and each point is worth $50, like for every $50 that you spend in my online store, then you will get one of these cards. So if you spend $150 US before shipping and handling in my online store, I will send you 3 of these little cards. And it has my information on the back. You can put it on your refrigerator to keep track of it or put it in your wallet, anything you like. But I'm going to be sending out these nice, heavy, physical cards for you to hold in your hand. And that way you will have something to keep track. It's going to be a little easier, I'm hoping. So I'm really excited about this. And the little cards they're just so much fun. I thought about doing a punch card, but I think this is an easier way for me because whenever you collect 10 of these, then I'll have you mail them back to me and you can get, it's actually a $50 shopping spree. You can choose something $50 before shipping and handling, and I will order it and have it sent directly to you. It's pretty cool. So that's the new little card you can look for if you're one of my customers in my online store. Now, I have been asked to demonstrate a card that I created for my blog last week. And last week, it was a card that was made with this stamp set called Thankful Thoughts. And this was a nice, big, solid image, and it was done in rainbow ombre. And I used the new in colors to get the colors on there. So I don't want to duplicate the exact same card that I made, and I don't have that card any longer. I sent it off immediately, and I don't have this card any longer to be able to show you exactly what it looked like, although it is on my blog if you want to go and have a look. If you ever look for something on my blog, and my blog address is jennyhalldesign.com, it's transitioning from jennystampsup.com to jennyhalldesign.com. And you'll look for a card, go down to the search bar that's on the right side bar, and just type in what you're looking for. Usually I mark all of my posts by the name of the stamp set plus a few other things like some techniques and things like that. So if you put in thankful thoughts, then you will be able to find that card. So what I'm looking for to demonstrate this technique is a solid image. And I thought I would switch over from creating it with the large sentiment to a solid image. And I haven't used this stamp set yet. I was very careless whenever I placed my order for the new catalog items, and I ordered the stamp set thinking I was ordering the bundle, but I did not. So I want to use this, and I want to demonstrate this particular technique. So if you want to duplicate this project, and I hope you do, then look for a stamp in your stash that is a solid image. And it works better on red rubber than it does on photopolymer. I'm not sure why. I think it's because the way the marker ink reacts with the surface of the stamp pad. So we're going to use this image here that is a puzzle piece, and this is Love You to Pieces stamp set. And I'm going to use this one. I could use this one here, but I think I'm going to do this one here. It's red rubber, as I said, and it's a very, very nice stamp set. So we're going to get started here. And some of the things that I'm going to need is a stamping tool. And I use the Stamparatus. I absolutely adore this Stamparatus. I'm going to use my stamp set, and I'm going to keep it here to help the door of my Stamparatus to have a nice even surface. Something else that I like to do is to take the door off if I need to, and so that I can, especially if I'm coloring, I can move this around and do different things with it. And that's a big help. I'm going to use my stamp chamois, which is well loved, and that will help me to clean the image off in between colors while the stamp is in the right position. This is very important. That stamp needs to be able to stay in the position that it's in. So the Simply Chamois is going to be a rescue for that. I'm also going to be using a microfiber cloth. This is just a very simple cloth that I've gotten from my local dollar store that I use on different projects. It's damp, so I've gotten it wet and wringed out as much of the water as I can. It just needs to be damp. But this is much more easy to manipulate than the Simply Chamois. And we'll see how as we progress. I'm going to probably use some embellishments, and I've got the iridescent sequin assortment here. And then I've got some more products that we'll be using to create the card itself. So we'll get to that as we go. But first, I want to start off with the technique. And please, as you're coming in, then please be sure to stop and say hello so that we can say, everybody can wish you a happy day and say hello. Now these are wonderful colors to create a rainbow. My kids will tell you there's lots of songs out there for rainbows, and I love that Stampin' Up! Made their in colors into a rainbow spectrum. I absolutely adore that. So ROYG BIV, blue, indigo, violet. We can stop here and just make it 5. So red, orange, yellow, green, blue. Those are rainbow colors, my kids will tell you. They have these songs that they learn in preschool, and Trip is just done with first grade. So there's songs about Roy G. Biv, almost like a rainbow is another person. And my kids are very much into rainbows. So I'm going to use the long brush end of the marker, and this is Lovely Lipstick. I'm going to start with red and work my way down. So as I start the process, I'm going to use the marker and color all of that very top knob. And then I'm going to use my microfiber cloth, and what I do is I just find a place where I can put my finger through to where it's a very small area to manipulate. I'm going to soften that line of where the red ended. So what that's going to do is, as I stamp it down, it's going to give me some red, and then it's fading out into not so much red. Hi Pamela, happy 4th of July to you too. So I'm not going to be done with the red. We're going to use more red. By the time we're finished, we're going to get some really, really nice bright coloring. But the one other thing is that we don't want to contaminate our markers. Like, I don't want to get my orange marker, which this one is Grapefruit Grove, I don't want to get it into the Lovely lipstick, because you guys know Lovely lipstick is a very bold color. So this is where my Simply Chamois is going to come in, and I'm just going to take off that area that I added it to. And I'm going to keep my chamois handy over here on the side. So let's go with orange. I don't want the orange to go all the way up to the top and cover up my red. I want the orange to be a progression down into about midway here. If you can see it, like the second heart. So I'm going to color in, get a nice amount of color on my stamp, and then I'm going to use this handy cloth here. I'm going to soften up both sides of that line, because I'm going to use more red too. And because we have 5 colors, I know I'm going to need to divide my image into 5 sections. So we're going to bring that red back down too. I'm not worried about the red contaminating the orange. And this is going to help me really brighten up that red. And I just want the red to come down and be on the top of the shoulders of the puzzle piece. And it's going to brighten up this red image, and then I'm going to soften this area. That way it'll look a little bit more gradient. And we're probably going to do this a lot of times until we get the look we want. So now we can start seeing that the red is encroaching on the orange. I'm going to bring the orange back in again. You can also use your finger just to kind of pull that color back. You know, there's lots of different ways to do this. And I want that red and the orange to mix together. I want them to become one. So I'm going to first add this orange. And now I'm going to add the red just at the top part of it, because I want the orange to stay orange. And then we've got this muddled line here that we're working on. Okay, and I'm going to soften it up just a tiny. There we go. Now we're starting to get a little bit more gradient look, and we probably will come back to that. But I want to start moving down the colors. Take away these for now. And the next color in the spectrum is yellow, and this is Pineapple Punch. So I know that it's going to need to be here in the middle. That much I know for sure, because I have 5 colors. So I'm going to need to have this Soften up those lines. I should probably move this over here. So now I can see where I need to have the yellow and where I need to start having that yellow kind of mix in with the orange. I'm not using exact color names because it's kind of like a rainbow we're working on. So I'm going to add a little bit of this orange. You can even huff on it if you like. And I didn't use the microfiber that time. I did not, and you can see the difference. You can see where there's a line where the yellow and the orange meet. But I'll work on that to repair it. I just wanted to show you that's the reason why I always use that little cloth. You could use a Q-tip. It's going to take a lot of Q-tips though if you want to go that way. There's lots of different ways that you can go about creating this look. So it's going to be a kind of like a labor of love. If this is a look that you want to get and you really want it to be fading one into the other, then it's worth taking the time to get this look. Otherwise, you can just add the color to your stamp and not worry about how it's mixing in with anything. I want more yellow here. And now I'm starting to see a definite more gradient look. Now, if I would have done this on shimmery white paper, I could always mix the colors around a little bit. So we'll come back to making it a little bit more gradient. Right now, let's keep moving down the spectrum, and we're gonna go with green. And this green is Call Me Clover. And because I added the yellow, then I want to make this green come right around there because I only have one color below it. So I want to keep the green to the area surface of where I kept the orange, which means that I want the yellow to come up onto this area here. So the green's going to kind of just be a little middle. It's drying up a little fast. I have my ceiling fan on because we're having a heat wave. So I have the fan is blowing on the colors, which is not helping me at all. Okay, let's start working the color in this way. And we're going to add that again. And I'll try to soften it up just a little bit less this time. Now I know that the next color that I'm going into at the bottom is blue, and the blue is going to really cover up because it's such a brilliant blue. It's blueberry bushel. So it's going to work in my favor to cover up some of that green. So it's starting to get a rainbow, and it looks like I've mixed around a little bit of my green here to get on the yellow. So I'll do a better job of cleaning off my stamp. It looks like the moisture pooled up on the side of each of the little puzzle piece size. Okay, so let's move down to green, and then we'll come back and work in some more ombre colors. So we're going to work on this absolutely gorgeous blue color. And just like the red on the top, I'm going to bring it to the shoulders of the puzzle piece. And see, this is important because I want it to seem like it's blending in. It's not just a one little section. It actually is moving into the next color, and that's the important part. So we can see that there's a rainbow that's forming here. And if you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to ask. This is why we do this as a live video. I'm going to work some more of that green in, and I'm going to put it into a large area because I know my microfiber cloth is going to take some of it off. Just like here, where they meet one another. It looks like it's spreading out just a little more than I'd like. And I'm getting a little bit more color, which is great. So do you guys, I'd love to hear if you use the ombre technique, if you have a particular way that you like to see it used. Another thing I could do is to use the aqua painter to mess around where that line is and dilute it. I have to make sure I clean my aqua painter though. So if you don't have a microfiber cloth, you could use a paper towel. And now we're starting to really get that fade in color from blue to green. So I'll do the same thing with the green that I just did on the blue. So I'm trying to give lots of different ways that you guys can create this process with what you have on hand. I really like the idea of Q-tips as well. I know that Q-tips are something that it's like one of those ingenuity things. We've got them around and sometimes we can use them in crafting. And I usually keep some where I have my craft supplies. I usually keep a few Q-tips on hand. And I want to make sure I pull back that green. I diluted it, but I don't want it to go too much up into that where the yellow area goes. Donna, you've never used this technique before? It's a nice one. When you want to get a look of it doesn't have to be a rainbow. It can be something that is maybe fading from pink to orange. And you can get like the look of an evening sunset or a morning sunset. So I'm just going in now and adding a solid line where I'm not looking to get that ombre. And what that's going to do is reinforce where the colors are that are not moving at all. So it's important to make sure that where the colors are not mixing, that I get enough really solid, brilliant color. And sometimes I am picking it up and putting it back down, the little door, and that makes sure that I'm getting all of that lovely ink that I possibly can. And I'm kind of going right in the area that I know that there is no mixing of the inks, no ombre look. I hope you try it, Sharon. It's really not as difficult. Sometimes things look a little bit more difficult on paper, if that makes any sense. And I think that when something is shown, that there's a different part of our brain that reacts, and that part of our brain is able to put it into a way to ourselves that we understand it a little more. Like, if that makes sense to say that we, our brain will translate the information into being able to understand it in a way that makes sense to us. And I guess that would basically be processing, that it would be processed to us in a certain way. All right, so now I'm going to try another way to show you. And that's to add some green and some yellow and not let them touch. They will be very close, but not touching. So I don't want my yellow marker to get all green. And if it does, I can just kind of doodle it off a little bit. And then I'll use my aqua painter to mix the line. And I'm taking off the excess. I want more yellow here than green because green is the dominant color. Now I want you to notice also that I have placed my magnet here because I don't want the paper to move at all. So sometimes placing them here and here works out well, but I don't want this paper to jump up and stick to anything. I want it to stay put where I'm having it go. Okay, so once we have the color mixed in the way we really feel happy with it, and I'm adding just a little bit more of that orange, and then I'll go red on top of it because the shoulders don't really look as ombre as I would like them to. And that's the great part about that Stamparatus. And then I'm gonna just mix the line. Just muddle it up. So I think I've given maybe 4 different ways that we can do this. So if you have some markers and you want to create it with your aqua painter, you don't have the chamois. I mean, there's lots of different ways. If you don't have a microfiber cloth, you could use different things, different pieces, and it all works out, basically. Just find what works for you. Now I'm going to put a little bit more yellow all over this whole area because the yellow is the one color that tends to get lost. And I'm going to use my finger this time just to remove some of the ink around the edges, and I'll just dab it off on my microfiber cloth. And that makes a little bit more ombre. I do have a hard line here. There's a couple of hard lines, but I'm okay with it. It would be nice if I could get a little bit more orange. Let me try that then. Just a little bit more orange where this bottom heart is. There we go. That's a little bit better. That shows me just a little bit more of the transition into the next color there. Okay, so now that we've got this image inked up, and you could do this with any solid stamp. That's the one factor that really needs to be followed with this process, is that it needs to be a solid image. Otherwise, if you put too many gaps in between, like I did last week I attempted to make this process but with a different stamp set, and it did not work out. It didn't show enough of the ombre. So my tips are that to use a red rubber stamp if possible, and to make sure that it's a solid image. So how do we feature this in a design? Well, this can be on a card front, or I have a design that in mind that I've prepared for this project. I'll put this away here. Now, what this stamp set is, it says is, you know, just like heart to pieces. We could make it say love you and be up on top of that, or just kind of like interpret love to pieces. You know, there's so many different ways to interpret this. But here's the design that I have planned for this card. So ahead of time, I took a card base of thick whisper white, and it is 4 1/4 by 8 1/2, and then I folded it in the middle and scored it at 5 1/2. Oh, 4 1/4 by 11, sorry. And then I took one of the layering circles and I used the second from the largest, and I die cut a hole, and I made sure that the die was the sharp points were facing down into this part of the card. Now, the reason that's important is because on this side, it doesn't look the same as it does over here. This is going to create a little channel, and we're going to use that channel. So I also took the largest plus the next one down, and this is the size that's the next one down, and I die cut 3 black circles by layering these together, and I'll show you how I did that. So I nested the dies, and I used these two together. This is the largest, and this is the next to largest, and I placed them together like this, and I put a little piece of washi tape on each side, and then I put it on the black paper, and the area that's cut out in between the two cut edges gives me just this little bit of paper here. But that's exactly what we need, because that will create a striking area for our image. So this is what it's going to basically look like, is we're going to have a black circle around the rainbow, and that will work out really easily. So I'm going to use a little bit of liquid glue. There's all sorts of different glues that can be done for this. I'm going to use a very, very small amount if I can. You guys know that liquid glue and I, we don't like each other very well. We don't hang out together. It's just one of those things where I'm a little too heavy on the glue than I should be, and it ends up getting everywhere. But I do have my little microfiber cloth on the side here, and I can clean my fingers if I need to. So I'm going to glue these together, just like this. Doesn't have to be perfect. It's not going to show. And once we get these together, then we're going to feature them by placing them in the channel that's in the front of the card here. So if you have any questions about the ombre process, then please ask them before we move on too far, because I don't want you to lose the question that you might have. So what I'm going to do is glue this black piece down into this little channel. You can see I need to burnish this a little bit more. And then I'm going to set it aside to dry while we finish working on this area. More liquid glue. Can you guys believe I'm using this much liquid glue? It's crazy. If I could do this very well with snail, I would do it. Okay, so I'm going to try not to mess up this area. I want the circle to sit directly over, so I can open this up and move it around just a little bit if I need to. That's why I'm using the liquid glue to do this part as well. And this is die cut the exact same size as the inside area of the circle. It was with the same die. Okay, and this is going to need to dry. So isn't that cool? We have a little area that's going to open up and show through the card. So what we can see so far is this is what it's going to look like on the inside of the card. Let me kind of get it lined up a bit. It's going to look like this. But we can put some more items around the edge, or we can keep it very sharp looking. I kind of like the idea of adding just a little bit more to it. Just a little. It doesn't have to be a lot, because on the inside, we want to leave an area that we can write a very, it can be written up here and down here where people can see the writing. Now we can change, let's see, this says one piece at a time, we just fit. There's lots of different things that we could have written on this, but I really want to have a go with these little hearts, because this will echo the design that we've already started. by adding these little hearts here. So I'm going to take the backing off of this. I've never used it. Now this would be a great opportunity for me to switch over to a block instead of my Stamparatus. Now I could use the Stamparatus, or if you have a block, then this is an easy time to just put some around. The idea that I had was to mimic the colors that are in this here. Let me find a clear block. I know I've got one in my caddy. This is a paper pumpkin block, and I like to keep this one here, and I know that this is much larger than the stamp set is, but the very thick blocks tend to distort my vision, and the low profile blocks, like these paper pumpkin blocks, I can see much easier into where it will be. So I'd like to have some of the hearts be on the inside and on the outside, like just around the edge, maybe, in a little bit of a trail. So I'm going to put away my Stamparatus, but I'm going to keep the markers out. And we can color on the stamp just like we did before. And it looks like there's 5 hearts on here, and there's 5 colors, so I guess maybe it would be a great idea to just continue that whole rainbow theme and color in one of these at a time. And I'm gonna do it in rainbow order, as easy as a rainbow as I can. I'm not sure how well this is going to translate out because of the way that they're laid out. Now, because I've got this on a clear block and my ceiling fan is blowing, I will huff on the stamp. Now, the way you huff on the stamp is to bring it close to your mouth and just breathe hot air on it. And it's reactivating some of those colors. So I'm going to just give it a very easy stamp and try not to rock it around because this block is really large for that area. And we're going to check out what it looks like in here. Perfect. So we can see that there's something here, and then when you open it up, you get to see more. So I want just a couple more of those. Maybe I'll keep this piece in place while I add the colors so that I know exactly where to use it. I don't know that I could be fast enough with my fan blowing. It's drying them just as quickly as I can put it on. I love this color of blue. It's gorgeous. Blueberry bushel. Okay, now I'll huff on it. My kids would love that. I have to teach them that technique because they'll be all over it. Okay, so if I can make a mental note that I want it to appear right around here where my finger is. And let's see what it looks like. Yes, perfect. So I've got these little rainbow hearts coming in a couple of different places. I could even put the hearts, like continuing out from where the stamp set is. But I think I need to add one more. Well, I don't know. This is 3 images here. I always try to work in 3s. So let's maybe add some accents. Instead of with more stamping, we can do it with the iridescent sequins. So I think it's safe now for me to add this panel to the inside of my card. I'm not going to need to have it move around anymore. This glue is really, it's like it had to stay in line before, and now it doesn't want to play right. It it wants to give me a fuss. Okay, so we've got our panel in place now. Trying to make sure I don't have any ink on my fingers because I think that's where this little smudge came from. And I've got the liquid glue. This is what it will look like on the inside. Very clean and simple, but it's not just clean and simple. It has some life to it because of these brilliant colors. I'm going to burnish this a little more. There we go. I did have to put this card base through the Big Shot before, and so that's always going to be one reason why it doesn't want to lay where it's supposed to. And I'm going to use my paper piercing tool, and I've got that glue dot on the end, and we can just place a couple of sequins around, and I'm going to try to stick with the colors that I've already got going on. So this is orange, and it looks a lot like Grapefruit Grove. This is almost a pink. I think pink would be okay, even though that's not one of our feature colors in the stamping. It'll work out. We might have to move a few things around. There's a nice variety of color in this assortment, and I want to use the sequins that are small because the little hearts are small. I'm not seeing any comments, so if you are still watching, then be sure to let me know that everything's coming through okay for you. So I want to continue to create that little bit of a heart trail, but I want the sequins to be inside the circle area because they're going to need to have that cushion. If they're inside the card, then it might be a little bit more hard for them to lay flat. So I'm going to just pick out a few of the small sequins. There we go. And that will continue, that will give me that look of the trail. So this time I'm going to switch over to the fine tip glue pen. I really like how this fine tip glue pen works to just give me just a dab of glue. Just enough for a sequin. Some of these want to stick to my mini glue dot. Okay, sequin, we hear you. So I'm going to try a different approach with this one. This is tiny and it wants to stick to the glue dot, so I'm just going to put it down with the other end. Same thing with this one. Oh, this little guy came back up again too. These are the things that you guys normally don't see on camera whenever I film my videos, are the stubborn sequins. Because I will edit that right out. There we go. Get my glue covered back up. Oh, if you're making comments and I'm not seeing them, then I'll make sure to reply after the video is finished, but I haven't been seeing very many comments. That happened last week to us too. For some reason, the comments just kind of went away. It was very strange. So if I haven't said hello to you, it's because they're Oh, I see one. I see. Hi, Robin. If for some reason the comments are just not working out so great on my iPad mini, which is I read my comments here and my phone is here filming. So what do you guys think about the ombre look? Creating the ombre with the in colors from 2018 to 2020. And if you don't have these colors yet, then if you're not a demonstrator, you can join and you can add this and the previous set of in colors as your free thing that you want to get. Now, when you join as a demonstrator, there is no further obligation to be able to make any purchases. You can just do it as a one-time thing just to be able to get what the promotion is. That's perfectly understandable. But if you do want to continue to get the discount, then you get to start off with a 20% discount, and that's not too bad to be able to get a 20% discount on your shopping supplies or on your craft supplies. So this is pretty much all it is to that ombre look. It's easy to accomplish, and it does take a little bit of time. This is true. But oh, thanks, Sharon. I'm glad you like it. But this is something that's achievable. It's very achievable with using your stamp positioner and being able to just have a process in place. Do some colors that you want to try to feature, and patience. Thanks, Donna. I'm glad you like it. Now, if you have any questions, then please put them in the video description and I'll answer it after the fact. I would greatly appreciate it if you would share this video, because it will help me to be able to reach more people, and I'll be able to continue to bring you these weekly live videos. If you're watching on YouTube, then if you would subscribe to my channel, I would greatly appreciate it. And on the video description, which is right below the video where you see the window of the video happening, right below it, there's information that you can click on, and it might say show more, and it'll give you more information down there. That's another wonderful feature of YouTube. I want to mention also that I've got some new tutorials that are up on my blog, jennyhalldesign.com. Click on tutorials, and you can either earn them or you can join my team and get free tutorials by being a team member. Or if you want to purchase them outright, you can also purchase the tutorials. There's also some retired products that are added to my blog at jennyhalldesign.com. Click on retired products and you can purchase retired products. So once a stamp set is retired, like when this is no longer going to be sold, then I will sell it, and I sell them at a very steep discount. So you can do that. There's many ways that you can support me, and I do appreciate all of your support. Here's some news on the progress that I have on earning the incentive trip. I have been working very hard to try to earn the incentive trip that is going to go to it's a Greek Isles incentive trip, and I'm over halfway there, but I've got a lot of work, a long way to go before I am going to earn it. So I have literally only 3 months left to do, less than 3 months, because July has already begun. So if you would love to help me do that and be able to take that Greek Isles vacation, I would absolutely love you for it. And you can support me in any way that you can. You can join my team, you can purchase my tutorials outright, or you can purchase in my online store. Any of those ways are wonderful ways that you can support me in whatever way that you are eligible to do that, however you feel you can. Well, thanks again for joining me today. Any information that you need, put it in the comments of this video and I'll answer it for you. This card is going to be on my blog on Friday, so you'll be able to see and get more information about it on Friday. So thank you so much for joining me today. A happy Independence Day to my fellow Americans. And if you're out in the rest of the world, then I hope you have a great evening or a great day. And I'll see you right back here next week. And don't forget, Technique Week is going on at my blog. All this week I've been featuring many more videos than normal, and it's almost a video a day, and lots of techniques. So be sure to check out all the different techniques, and there's a great one today on my YouTube channel and my blog for watercoloring an embossed image, and it has the fun little purple platypus. That's created from the stamp set called Postcard Pals. Thanks again, everybody, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Hi, my name is Trip. Thanks for watching the video. See you next time.